Good afternoon. We do have a quorum present, so we'll go ahead and get started and call the meeting to order. Before we get started, let me read through our role as a board and kind of how we'll handle the meeting today. We're the 2025 Board of Equalization and Review for Union County. We have been appointed by the county commissioners to hear any and all taxpayers with respect to concerns/complaints regarding the valuation of their property for tax purposes. Property owners appearing before the Board of Equalization and Review have the right to a fair and equitable hearing. The Board of Equalization and Review has been charged with ensuring that the proper legal principles have been applied in a valuation dispute for tax purposes. So the format for the hearing, you'll see the monitors here. We have monitors. The county will locate the property on the monitor so we're all looking at a map of the property. And then the clerk will call the case, and at that time you'll step forward here and present your information to the board. After you present your information, members of the board will have a chance to ask any questions. After that, the county will do the same. They'll step forward, present their information. We'll have a chance to ask questions of the county. After that piece is over with, I'll come back to the taxpayer for any final comments that you may have. Any questions need to be directed to me as chairman. After we hear all the cases today, we'll go into the deliberation phase of the hearing and look to make a decision, and then you'll be notified normally within about 30 days. And you're welcome to stay for the deliberation phase as well. But you'll be notified in writing, within about 30 days. By statute of proof, the burden is on the taxpayer to demonstrate that the assessment is erroneous. So if you're presenting sales data, we need to have that data to be on or prior to 1/1 of 25, since 1/1 of 25 is the effective date of the property reevaluation for the county. Only individual taxpayers or licensed residential or certified real estate appraisers licensed to do business in North Carolina may express an opinion of value of real property. No other persons, whether attorneys in fact, attorneys at law, or corporate representatives, are entitled to express an opinion of value of real property. So if there are not any questions, if you would, silence your phones, and I think we can get started. So, if I'm not mistaken, we've got several that aren't here
That is correct.
at this time.
Yes, sir. We are going to, if it's okay, start with hearing number 5.
Okay,
Since she is present.
right, that sounds good to me.
All right, so we will start with hearing number 5. That is for property key 09072123. The taxpayer is here, and it is Irina Ilaneski.
Okay.
Okay, this property is located 200 North, turn right on New Salem Road, and then another right on Old Camden Road. The development is located across the street from the water treatment plant.
Okay. I have a good idea of where that is. And,
I'll zoom back in.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I thank you for hearing me out.
Okay.
I came here in hopes that you would, I'm sorry.
Just relax. Just
Yes,
Don't
yes.
keep it as informal as we can.
Of
Okay.
course. We just think, my husband and I, we just think that our property is valued way too high for several reasons. First of all, where our house is located, our subdivision, as you can see, especially since you said you are well aware of where it is, we are basically located in the rural side of Union County, the most undeveloped area at this moment. So, but we were evaluated as if our house was somewhere in Weddington or Waxhaw area, close to shops and all. And I know that when I spoke to Will, he explained several, we spoke a couple of times on the phone, and he explained several things to me, but also our house is, compared to other homes on the street, is one of the highest valued for some reason, although our house is not, the square footage is not the highest. I brought a couple, I did not submit online anything, but I did bring a couple of pages here for you to see, just a couple of houses to compare ours to. The square footage, also the, yeah, there are two of them. As you can see, the first one is our house. And then the second one that you see is the house, our neighbor, that as far as the square footage, it's a bit smaller than ours. But then it has a saltwater pool, in-ground saltwater pool, and then it has the outbuilding as well. It's pretty big. So, but for some reason, their house was valued much less than ours. And also, it shows that it was on the market for such a long time, and it sold under 9,000. Yes, that means that our house, I mean, basically it shows that the market, I know that market is not as great as it was before. And I know they told me that I can't bring any sales that was sold after the January 1st. But still, the other house that you see on the second one, no, not the second one, the fourth one, as you can see on the page, even though it did sell in March of this year, but as you can see, I've also attached it, that it was on the market for quite a bit, and it sold way under asking price, and it sold for about $840. So basically, even though our home was tax value was something above 900, because there are houses, the houses in our subdivision especially does not sell in that price range anymore. Even that last year, it wouldn't sell at that price range. It's just way overvalued.
Okay.
And as you can see, the square footage is even in the house that is in mark number 3 is much larger than ours. And it has a 3-car garage, and it's still tax value for some reason was brought up much less than ours.
Right.
I'm sorry for
No.
I'm stuttering and I just can't.
You're
just
fine.
get
You're
together.
fine.
My thoughts together. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
And I was explained by Mr. Marshall that it's all about the amount of brick, the square footage of the brick, this and that. Everything is taken under consideration. But first, it was the square footage, because the square footage was larger than the other homes. Then it was the brick amount. Then it was something else. But as you can see, our house is the plainest one of houses on the street. We don't have a pool. We don't have any outbuildings. It's just plain square. And I know that when we started building our home, we actually hit right there with COVID. So the prices were outrageously high. So we had to sacrifice many, many, many things to finish the building. And then for some reason, our house was rated as plus. So we had to pay taxes more compared to our neighbors for a couple of years. And now, again, we're hit with increase, double the amount of what was our house worth then in the amount as well. So for us North Carolinians, it's kind of, we're just because that 1 year when the market was so ridiculously high and everything was so overpriced, to be I would say penalized in some way to pay that much amount, where our jobs have not changed, our salaries have not changed. It's just a bit too much.
Yeah. You know, and
And
I
I'm
hadn't
sorry.
looked through the detail that you've provided, but understanding that the county typically is going to be pulling comps as close, comparable sales data as close to that 1/1/25 date, you know, and I hadn't looked at their data in detail yet, but normally mid-2024 to the fall of 2024. And it sounds like what you're doing here, I mean, you're looking at your neighbors and what their values are and using kind of the square footage piece of it to come up with your opinion of value, which it looks like to me your opinion of value is 700,000, correct?
I would say yes.
Okay.
I would be perfect, even what it was before is 640, because for some reason our house, like I said, was graded as plus. Although it's nothing, I don't know why it was graded
Yeah.
as plus. So it was reevaluated and graded as grade minus as it should be. But yes, I just don't think it's especially, I mean, I do understand what you're saying, that we cannot go beyond the January 1st of this year, but even then, even if you can see that the house that I provided you with, the sales, even though it's sold, the final sale was in March, you can tell both of those houses, well, some of the two that I provided the Zillow information to you, that you can tell that they were on the market for quite a bit, and they sold below their asking price. And
Okay. Let me see if members of the board have any questions for you, and then we'll let the county present their information. Then I'll circle back to you after the county
okay.
presents their information. So, Mr. Benson, you, okay,
Yeah, I want to wait on the county.
okay. All right, if you would, have a seat, and let's have the county present their information.
So originally, on this house, we did have a grade of good. And as I was looking for comps, I noticed the majority of the other houses or actually all of the houses in the neighborhood were good minus. So we had somebody go out, take a look, and we did change the grade to good minus, which is how we got from the original value of $1,078,600 to 900,000 to, that's how we got to that number. And if you look at we were only able to pull 3 comps from within the neighborhood. It's a pretty small neighborhood. They're all custom-built homes, so there are, you know, some differences in quality, construction, material, stuff like that.
Excuse me, that'll be page 28. 28. Yes.
Yeah, the very last page on the, yep, okay.
I'm sorry, Will.
So you've got the 3
No,
comp, you got the 3 comps there. Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all within that neighborhood, so we didn't have to go outside of the neighborhood. So I feel like they're pretty good comps, you know, that were sold within the time period that we're looking at.
Okay, and then, so I assume the information, it looks like some of the information that is in here, the additional information that she presented today, if you looked at this, I think it's maybe I think what's in our book is maybe a snapshot of what she presented us today.
Yeah, I think she brought a little bit more in. She did send, when she filed the appeal, she sent 2 comps, one of which we used, which is comp 2 on our analysis.
Okay,
The second she sent was from a sale in 2025, which we weren't able to use that.
okay, okay. All right, yeah, I'm gonna circle back to you, okay. Questions, Mr. O'Keefe?
I'm just trying to figure out some numbers here. This comp number 2 is the closest, you said? I mean, in terms of,
Well, in terms of gross adjustments, comp number 1 would be the most similar. Comp number 2 is the one that she provided to us.
gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Benson, you have any questions for the?
differential in these numbers.
Mhm.
You know, and actually, as I'm looking at the numbers, I'm just wondering, you know, how long has this area been particular development, this community?
I'm not aware. Brad, do you have that?
Yeah, all these homes were built in 21 and from 20 to 22, but this neighborhood's been there for a while. I'm going to say 10 years maybe.
And in the 10 years, typically, these have been pretty much the price of the homes in that area, price range, per se.
Well, this neighborhood, of course, like everything, has appreciated, so the price range changes monthly in this market.
The increase from 2021 was 32%.
And even you went back in and did some adjusting and came down from what it seemed, the notice value was at the time, Bill 78.6. And you, did your Jeff Road Bodine figuring that 9025.
Yeah, when we adjusted the quality grade, when we took it down from good to good minus,
So it's no longer in the plus category then?
no, no.
Yeah, it was taken from 1,078,000 down to 902,500.
25.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure thing.
I'm gonna try to pronounce your name correctly. Ilinitsky?
You can just call me Irina.
Irina?
Yeah,
Yeah, come back up so we can hear you though. Okay. I think you said you had a question or a statement?
Yeah, I wasn't sure which house he was comparing ours to, so which was the closest one, he said, but,
Yeah, it looks to be 1026, well, got 1022 Piney Drive and 1026 Piney Drive. And I think the one they said was most common was 1022, comp one.
I really need to see the house. Correct. Well, the house, like I said, obviously, our house will be compared to the most expensive one that's sold on our street, but I think our house is not comparable to that one at all. And even the comp one, you said, right? Even so, that house has a pool, and that house has an outbuilding as well. And and let's just be honest, most likely this house was not purchased by a North Carolinian. So it's just for us that lived here all our lives and had a job in this.
I understand, but it's,
We will not be able to afford anything like this. So, and just to price our house based on this because someone was able to afford this kind of house, so they should be able to afford the taxes as well on this $1 million. When we built a house in this subdivision, in this, I guess, second phase of the Old Camden, when it was developed, I think in 20-something, no one was building a house that would be $1 million. So none of us could afford a house to be that much. So I just don't feel it's fair for us to be.
it's just market driven. I mean.
I do understand that,
yeah.
but I do understand that, but and I know that Will had told me that because there's no more land in Weddington or Waxup, everyone is moving to this side of the town. But it's not even that, and I don't we still don't see a lot of sales in our area, and even if the land do sell, because he said that mostly it's just not the building, it's the lots, the land that is so worth that much. There's not much there's selling there because there's just, like I said, we're surrounded by cows, by farms, by chicken farms, by everyone. I mean, just and like I said, and I think that whenever we chose this area where we live right now, and most of our neighbors as well, because we moved from the city. We were trying to be away from all of that traffic and all of that. So and how it was before, I guess COVID hit and all this chaos happened, we would assume that we would pay less taxes as well, because our house is not in the mainstream of the, where everyone wanted to be.
Right.
So we just wanted peace and quiet.
Yeah.
And I've looked at the sales at the Weddington area or that part of Union County. And for our house, a house okay, but for our location where our house is located, compared to their houses, maybe it's a similar house, say similar square footage, but just because of location, their house would worth $1 million, where ours would not, because people who can afford a house of $1 million, they would want to stay close to society, well, not society, social life, shops, stores, restaurants, everything. So that's one of the reasons why I think it's overvalued. And even though the house, even though it's not here on the comp, or the will provide it to you, the one of the houses that I've printed out, the black one, I think, even though it did sell on the 3rd in March of this year, and I did say that, even though it shows that it was sold in March of this year, you can tell that throughout a year or maybe 2 years, it was on the market and it did not sell. And even this house, that the comp number 1 that Will had provided you, it was on the market for quite a bit. And then there's another house that I've provided you with. I can't remember the number of it. I think it was the parcel number that ended in 20. It was sold way under asking price. No, it wasn't the 20. No, it wasn't the 20. It was,
There's one that ends in 20, there's one that ends in 21.
the 21 most likely.
Yeah, and that's,
Yes, the 21.
the county has that one, I believe. That's 09072.
Yes, it was sold for $840, and it was sold on the 3/24, on March of 24.
Yeah.
So, again, if you can see, I didn't even print out the whole thing, but you can tell that it's been on market for quite a bit, and they just kept on bringing the price down. And that house is big, and that's the house that has a pool, and no, it doesn't, not this one, yes, it does.
Yeah.
Pool and outbuilding as well. So why compare our house to the most expensive one of the most expensive on the street? And it's not even that. It was just sold for that amount. It doesn't mean that it's worth that much. It was just someone was able to pay that much for that
Well,
house.
I mean, that's the market, though. I mean, and that's the sales data.
Correct,
Yeah.
but if we're looking at the house that was sold for $1 million, why not look for the houses for the 2 houses
Yeah.
on the street that was sold for $840, around $850?
Right.
So why not look at those, but only we're looking at the most expensive one?
The county used that property in their analysis for yours.
That's understandable. I
Yeah,
mean, I
okay.
understand,
I
but
mean,
for
it's-
me,
There's 2 comps there that are right there at you. I mean, but I mean, we'll take a look at it, when we get into the deliberation phase. But a lot of it's gonna have to do with the adjustments they made in it. I mean, your house is bigger than that house, and from a square footage standpoint, granted, the smaller the square footage, the higher the price per square foot, okay? Which a lot of people have a hard time, following that piece. But we'll be glad, we'll take a look at all this when we get into the deliberation phase. I understand, where you're coming from, but it's still the market in that area,
I do
and-
understand
And
that.
I think
sir.
it's close. I mean, it's not going to be exact, but I mean, I feel like everything's pretty close, especially with the adjustment that's already been made, okay?
I do understand that, sir, and I thank you very much for
Yeah.
taking your time to at least deliberate and hear me out.
Yeah.
Gibberish, I mean, I'm just, but, I mean, I do understand the county. Obviously, they're gonna compare it to the most expensive one. They're not gonna compare it to the houses that were sold. Well,
Yeah, yeah,
May I ask a
Yeah.
question?
Sure.
What- You say fair value was at 700. So that seems to me like, given the comps, the science, the process of establishing value, is there only way to go about it really is a process, obviously it's not perfect, but there's things you have to put in, and actual sales data is the best data.
of
As
course,
to the logic behind it or why it happened, I mean, we don't know. We weren't there. We can assume things, but we don't know. That's all I'm saying.
of course, and I completely understand where you're coming from. But I'm begging you to, I'm pleading with you to hear where I'm coming from. It's, if you compare it to the most expensive one, yes, but if you're talking about the square footage, then there's a house that's sold for about $840 that is larger in square footage compared to ours, but it was sold at $840. And that's the fact. I mean, yes, we can compare our house to the comp number one that Will had presented to you, yes. I do understand that, but you can also compare our house to the house that was sold at $840, and it's enlarged in square
yeah,
footage.
which one is?
That. This right here that you brought in?
It was number two as well, yes.
Yeah, it's sold for, yeah,
And also the,
it's sold on March of 2024.
and I know that, like, Will had advised me that most likely you will not look at it, but number four, the page number four that I printed out for you, even though, like I said, it was sold in March of this year, it's sold for below 900.
Right, right. And we'll take a look at that data in the deliberation phase, okay? And appreciate what you have brought to us today, as well, okay?
I thank you for being patient with me, and I thank you for hearing me out, and please understand, I mean, I do understand where the county is coming from. I really do.
Yeah,
Everyone must pay taxes, but
Yeah.
please understand us as well as taxpayers.
Yeah.
That nothing has changed in our lives as
Yeah.
far as the jobs or anything like that.
Right.
So
Okay.
please,
I understand.
thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Final comments?
I'll just say, in terms of the pool and outbuildings, on the sales analysis, we do account for that, as far as adjustments, so. That's all I'll say. I tried to use the comps that she provided. Unfortunately, they were from 2025,
Right.
so.
Understood.
Yep.
Understood. Thank you. Okay.
May I have a question?
Yeah.
Real quick question, sorry.
Sure.
Basically, when you're allowing, when you say that's the negative 40,148 for a pool?
Correct.
Is that, okay?
Yes.
I want to make sure I understood the process.
Yep.
Thanks.
Just the adjustment to bring it in line.
Adjustment.
Yeah,
I
to
just
bring
want
it
to
in
make
line.
sure
Yeah.
I didn't want to assume I was
Okay.
reading it correct.
With that, we'll roll on to the next one.
Yes, sir. If you want to, we're going to continue to go backwards and go to hearing number 4.
Okay.
I think Mr. Hunter is going to present on their behalf, so we will hear that one. That is for parcel number 06162005N, and the taxpayer is GSI Providence Waxaw, owner LLC.
All right, this is a mini warehouse building, new construction, that is, it's near the intersection of Kensington and Highway 16 or South Providence Road, and it's right beside the Harris Teeter. This property was approximately 75% complete as of January 1 of 2025. The appellant, their representative wanted their information to be heard. The only information that we received was on their on their appeal that it just stated that they feel like the market value of the subject property is in error, and they request it be reduced based on one or more of the following, excuse me, income approach to value, comparable sales cap rate, or any other evidence that supports our requested value. And they will submit additional evidence at a later date. Have not received that information as this point. Basically, we have a property that's 122,816 square feet, it's new construction. It's not been completed. So what I did was I ran the numbers at what it would be worth if it was 100%, just to see if we were in line with what our sales were. If this property was complete, the total value would be $8,372,200, which is $68 a square foot. The sales that I found were, instead of $68 a square foot, they're $125 a square foot, because the income on these is much greater than what the cost is, and that's why you see a lot of construction of these properties. Also, the typical price range of a similar property is $13.1 million, and we would be at 8.3 if it were 100%. So we felt like we were significantly lower than what the market is, so we felt no need to make an adjustment.
All right. Questions, Mr. Benson?
No.
I have a couple, but Mr. O'Keefe?
One quick, they are not here, but they're asking that they simply, their case be made.
They would
by
like for the
you
case to be made so that the appellant, if they decided to proceed to the PTC, would have that opportunity. So
Gotcha.
that's what the whole basis. I've sent them my information and the sales and everything that I had. So they're in possession of that, and based on that information, they decided that they would not attend.
I'm curious, and I know we've had this come up before, so it's 75% complete at 1/125, so that's what it goes on for, correct?
Right, right. And so our total value is $5,739,900.
It's at 75% complete,
With, that's the land and the building.
which are probably complete now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's 100% at this point. So
Yeah.
it'll be 100% for next year. So we'll put it on at 100.
And I imagine that's the way you do it. If it's partially complete, the county's not going to look at an income approach. It's going to be more just a per
Right.
square foot.
Like even when we do apartments, we don't place it on income until the construction's complete, because it's not producing
Right.
anything, and so we just run
You
it
don't,
at
you don't
cost.
estimate anything.
Right,
They haven't
right.
provided anything at this point.
They have not.
Can't, you
No,
know.
there was
Any
there
pro
was
forma,
nothing.
no
there was-
pro forma or
Yeah, there's
anything like
nothing
that.
to analyze, but I went ahead and pulled, just for due diligence, I
Yeah.
pulled to make sure that we're in line, and we are certainly
Right,
below what
Yeah, it sounds like
properties are selling.
yeah, it sounds like it, so. I don't have any further questions, does the board?
Is he not going, is he not going to turn it to the county for that?
Nope. I believe that would be it, wouldn't it, Mr. Hunter?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Yep, next.
So we're going to go to hearing number 3, because Joe is also, Mr. Hunter is going to be presenting for that as well, I believe, for the taxpayer. So the property key number is 06138008. The taxpayer is PMAK Waxhaw LLC.
All right, this is a medical office in Waxhaw on South Providence Road, Highway 16, and it's directly across from the Waxhaw Police Department, and or beside it. And then across the road was the Cowicks Marine. It was right beside it. We have the same scenario, that same appellant wants their information heard, and according to their appeal, they said the market value subject property is in error, and the same, it's basically the same statement. We request to be reduced based on one of the more following, income approach to value, comparable sales cap rate, or any other evidence that supports our requested value. Submit evidence at a later date. Do not have evidence of that nature as well. And what I looked at on this one is, if you turn to page 35, this medical office sold for $6.6 million in 2016. And we have it appraised at $6,364,700, which is, we probably need to go out and do a full QA on this property to see why we're vastly below the sale price. I also pulled, there's some comps on the following pages. We're at $246 a square foot, and the sales that I have of medical offices similar to this one, we're at $246. The sales indicate $296 a square foot. We're at $6.3 million. The median sale price of the medical offices are $10.3 million. So another that we are significantly lower than market indicates.
Yeah, and on one like this, would the income approach be the,
The income approach would be,
Yeah.
would provide a value that would be a lot more in line with what the actual market value would be.
Right.
We're on cost, which is almost always,
Lower.
not always, but almost always is going to be lower
Right.
than what the sales, because they're selling for what the income is bringing in.
and I'm sure y'all have asked for it, I mean, why wouldn't the taxpayer hadn't presented?
I don't know, it's a
Yeah.
number, it's a tax representative, so I don't know if they, what their schedule was, if they were tied up or
Right,
why it wouldn't. But that's, like I say, usually when they come in on the informal side, if they come in and they haven't presented any type of information other than something like that, we go ahead and just shoot it back out and deny it. And then I guess they had intentions on maybe providing some information, but they also have this same information I have provided to them, so I don't know if they would have anything that would combat what we have that would be something to the contrary. And even their income approach, I would be skeptical that they could come in with a value as low as what we have
right.
right now.
I mean, I'm just a little
Yeah.
puzzled by the individual. Is he just using this process to go straight to the PTC? And,
I just
I
don't
mean,
know.
I can't- yeah.
I'm not familiar with this firm, so.
Yeah, it
I
just
just
doesn't-
don't know.
yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know, yeah. Any questions of the county? Mr. Benson?
No, I thought that building did look familiar, and I kept saying, I know that building.
Oh, yeah.
That's
okay.
only because I go to meetings at the White Sox.
No, do you? Okay. And Mr. O'Keefe?
Got no questions.
I'm good. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hunter.
All right, we're going to go to hearing number 2 now.
Okay.
This is going to be for property key number 04-108-002A. The taxpayer is Hill Dillon,
Okay.
and they are not present.
Okay. All right, so not here. Okay, we'll move forward. We'll deal with the vote in the deliberation phase, and we'll just go through the agenda then. So. And then,
All right, so hearing number 1
okay,
is for property key number 08-219003. The taxpayers are Charles and Kay Simmons, and they are also not present.
okay.
We will jump to hearing number 6.
Okay,
Property key 07072234. Taxpayer is Hyder George trustee. That is for also number hearing 7, same taxpayer. Property key number 06165336. For hearing number 8 as well. For property key number 06108706, and also not present.
okay. So that would complete the agenda,
Yes, sir.
correct? So we can move into the deliberation phase, everybody? Oh, okay.
Okay, my apologies. We will do then, the hearing 7 was the staff recommendations that have been settled.
So that's,
Seven?
or 9,
9, did I say 7? I'm
9.
sorry, 9.
So we'll take a look at the staff recommendations behind tab 9. Maybe just take a minute to review those. All right, I've got just curious on one, and Joe, I believe that Cherry 5 LLC with that big adjustment,
Yeah, that's, I'll pull that up.
it's the fourth one on the spreadsheet,
Yeah.
went from 3.1 to 2 million. It just kind of sticks out, I'm just curious.
Yeah, that one, this one no longer has frontage on Highway 74. When they built the expressway, the bypass,
Okay,
when they ran this frontage road down through here, they cut off his access to 74. And we
okay,
still had it valued like he would have had a curb cut, but it's no longer allowed. So now he's valued more like a property would be over here on this side,
gotcha.
across the road. So that is a significant difference from having frontage on 74 access. You can still see it from the little access road, but it really doesn't have much of an impact. He intends at some point, this is Carolina made, he intends at some point to
Oh, yeah,
move his operation maybe back to that piece and treat it more like industrial type property than a commercial piece. And I really didn't have an issue with that because it's, like I said, it doesn't have the same desirability and profitability it would have if he had actual access.
okay. Gotcha, thank you, thank you. I don't have any questions on any of the others.
With that, Mr. Chairman, make a motion to accept staff recommendations.
Second.
I have a motion, second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. So motion's carried to accept the staff recommendations as presented.
All right, and then for hearing 10, those will also be the staff recommendations, that these are the ones that have been settled without agreement.
Okay. So, for clarification, I understand it, I think, but who would explain that to the board?
These are the ones that appealed.
Right.
And we replied, and they have not replied back within a timely manner. Their time has expired, and we just need your blessing on it.
Okay. And clarification, if they come back like 2 weeks from now, how does it's done?
It's over, right?
That's what I thought. Okay, I just want to make
They're
sure we
done.
all yeah.
Yeah.
So they've been,
It's over.
yeah. So,
It's concluded.
It's concluded.
so what's the pleasure of the board on the,
Mr. Chairman, based on the staff, 300 days. Accept the consent agenda items.
okay, so I have a motion to accept the consent agenda items as presented.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. So motion's carried. And that would take us back to tab 1. Okay.
Yes, sir, if you want to go back to hearing number 1 for deliberations, that'll be fine.
So tab 1 did not show.
Can I
So-
take a break?
Yes.
Is that possible?
Yeah.
I hate to be-
Let's take a short recess, 5-minute recess. Okay? Okay.